So I run a digital marketing and web design outfit or agency. I started out as a web designer. I'm 27 years old as of right now, time being here. My name is Gyles and the name of the company I run is Brussel Pond. Doesn't mean anything. It just sounded, at the time, it just sounded like a good idea for the type of clients I was going for. Because we just done some work with Harvard, or I just had done some work with Harvard at the time, and I thought I wanted more fancy clients. So I needed like a fancy sounding name, and I thought Brussel Pond would be it. But yeah. I was running a men's lifestyle magazine called Suave Men, and I'd been running it for about like 2 to 3 years. I started it in 2013. In 2015, we started having a lot of issues with like traffic. The site kept on crashing. It was highly trafficked website, but I just didn't know how to manage it, like what hosting platform to move to and whatnot. And around the time I was having that problem, I just started thinking like, okay, I've been doing the magazine online, making a bit of money every month, but I'm getting quite a few inquiries around like websites, and can you help me with my website, and can you advise me on what to do? So after I did the work for Harvard in January 2015, February 2015, I was sitting and thinking of, just a name. I just got off the phone with my hosting company. Then I was like, yeah, I should probably take the marketing agency stuff a bit more seriously. So I don't know, I think I was looking at a design, and the design I came across, like the companies I work with that make website designs, sometimes I buy them and customize it. And I came across a design called Pond. And I was like the design, I liked how it looked. I was like, Pond agency that can work. Apologies, I'll just put my phone on silent. I was like, Pond agency, yeah, that can work. Yeah, I like the name, but it's too generic. Yeah, so, but I liked the design and I liked how it looked. And then I just came up with Brussels, like Brussels sprouts. I think I was looking at a news headline and something about Brussels was in there. I was like, yeah, Brussel Pond. That doesn't sound like something I would own. It sounds like something that could grow into something else and take on a life of its own. Brussel Pond is a marketing agency. We do all types of marketing. We build websites as well, do graphic design. And right now, we do a lot for our clients on social, but with their social media campaigns, whether that be advertising on Instagram or Facebook and trying to get out to a new audience. Okay, so I was running a men's lifestyle magazine called Suave Men, and I'd been running it for about like 2 to 3 years. I started it in 2013. In 2015, we started having a lot of issues with like traffic. The site kept on crashing. It was highly trafficked website, but I just didn't know how to manage it, like what hosting platform to move to and whatnot. And around the time I was having that problem, I just started thinking like, okay, I've been doing the magazine online, making a bit of money every month, but I'm getting quite a few inquiries around like websites, and can you help me with my website, and can you advise me on what to do? So after I did the work for Harvard in January 2015, February 2015, I was sitting and thinking of, just a name. I just got off the phone with my hosting company. Then I was like, yeah, I should probably take the marketing agency stuff a bit more seriously. So I don't know, I think I was looking at a design, and the design I came across, like the companies I work with that make website designs, sometimes I buy them and customize it. And I came across a design called Pond. And I was like the design, I liked how it looked. I was like, Pond agency that can work. Apologies, I'll just put my phone on silent. I was like, Pond agency, yeah, that can work. Yeah, I like the name, but it's too generic. Yeah, so, but I liked the design and I liked how it looked. And then I just came up with like Brussels sprouts. I think I was looking at a news headline and something about Brussels was in there. I was like, yeah, Brussel Pond. That doesn't sound like something I would own. It sounds like something that could grow into something else and take on a life of its own. You know what? Yeah, last time I had like a job, I was like 19 years old. So like it's been quite a while. Obviously, like having a job is a commendable thing. It's a good thing. But when I turned 20, I was at uni for a little bit and then I dropped out, and I was just kind of figuring out what I wanted to do. I wanted to do something with marketing, and the reason is when I was in my teens, I used to make music. In fact, when I was 19, I went on tour as a spoken word artist, just like, freestyle rapping, and I had quite a good run that year, 2011. And what worked for me is that I had a blog, I had a presence on Twitter and all these platforms. So when people would find me at the show, they would go online, follow, or buy an EP or wherever else I had. And my manager at the time was booking me, but I just thought if I knew what she knew about, networking and booking shows and stuff, I could have my own label or agency or own something, and I could put on some of my friends. So I'd attended some other workshops that kind of gave you practical steps, like this is what you can do online and this is what you can sell online. But it's just that what they were selling was different from what I wanted to sell. Because a lot of these internet marketing workshops, they're selling I don't know if you've been to any of them, they sell, not all of them, but a lot of times, I wouldn't swear on camera, but a lot of times they're selling crap, and these courses on buy this course and it'll teach you how to sell this course so that you can sell it to other friends and stuff like this. It's just it's a joke. But what I liked about some of the stuff I was hearing is that I was learning about how to use social media, or I learned how to build a website from some of them. I learned a bit about coding from some of them. So I would kind of go to different workshops and I started buying courses that would teach me how to market stuff, yeah? But my thinking was I was gonna use this eventually to market music and use it for musicians. But as time went on, I just decided that, okay, I'm 20 years old now. By the time I'm 23, I want to have either established a company or something that kind of works, or I'm going to go back to uni. Yeah. And obviously by the time I was 23, I had a magazine and I started Brussel Pond. So when I started it, I just kept on going. So when I had the design down, I knew that I had a practical skill that I could sell to someone, and they'd want to buy it. I was really design conscious, so I'd design websites or whatever else with the idea that, let's see if we can make this person look bigger than they actually are, and then try sell them, try sell their service or whatever else, yeah. So it started working. So I was like, okay, now I've got the skill set down, and I know how to build a website, and I've done it. I know how to get traffic. It's more selling it to the crowd that I wanted to sell to, which is, I wanted to get back into the entertainment industry, but then I was getting referred, and some of my friends had regular businesses, and someone's a plumber, they need a website, they need a bit of help with their marketing, or someone's an accountant, and their friend, a family friend or something, and they need a website. So as I was doing it, it's building my confidence. I'll do the website, they're like, oh, I'm really happy with it, it worked. And I started thinking, okay, I've got the skill down now. I thought I was just gonna do this for a little bit of time and then move on to doing something else. But I'm seeing it take a life of its own. So I started thinking 2016, I should register the company and get an office or something like this, start making moves to make it a real thing. I hadn't figured everything out, but I just knew that I had something people wanted. Yeah, so I've registered the company, I've got my first office, which was a good deal for me because it came through a meeting I had with a client who had office space and then offered it to me, and I did some work for them in exchange. So initially there was no upfront costs. And then 2017 comes in and I'm starting to think about paid promotions and running ad campaigns and this type of thing. How do I want to position myself? Some of the clients I had at the time it was a personal thing for me. Some of them were surprised that I was black. Yeah, it didn't really matter because obviously I'm behind the brand, but I started thinking I don't want to be the face of it, but some of the younger guys were like, how are you doing this? Or, it's because your name's Gyles, you don't sound like how you look or whatever else. I was getting some dumb questions come to me from people. So I thought when it came time to promote, we could either just go on Google and say we're a web design company, or I could run seminars and events and promote what I do that way. But if I'm speaking at the event, everyone's gonna know who owns the company, because You know, there's nothing to hide. So I did seminars for some of my other clients in 2017, and then 2018 I started teaching my own material, and it worked quite well. And that was something I could market. That was something I felt like, okay, I'm ready to start advertising. So towards like the middle of 2018, the beginning of last year, I started recording and getting in front of the camera a little bit. And then I did a little bit more. And towards like the end of the year, I was kind of settled. Like, this is what I want to do going forward. And I always had this idea, like, by the time I'm 27, I want to have kind of built a client base, which I have done, and kind of get back to the reason I started in the first place. So I turned 27 2 months ago, and from now till 30, I'm thinking like this is like the stretch of time where I really want to just like grow it. Because before, we had good clients, but we were known just within the industry, you know, like, it was very close knit, like everyone knows everyone. And I just knew the clients I had, but I want to spread out and get out to the general public. I don't know, I write down what I want to do, and then I just let go of it. Like, I think people write down their goals and then they monitor it and squeeze the life out of it. I don't know how, a lot of things I want to do now, I have no idea how I'm going to do it. I know practically, like, you know, 1 + 1 is 2, and 2 + 2 is 4. If you do this, you should get that result, yeah? But life doesn't always work out that way, you know? Like, I've had plans where, even last year, I was like, okay, I'm working on this project now. Once I'm done working with this project, I'm gonna fly home and visit my grandma. And by the time I was ready to do that, she passed away, you know? So I don't know, like, you know, what's gonna happen tomorrow, but I just know, like, it's almost like, you know, the higher power. I just feel like this is what I wanna do this year. I don't know exactly how I'm gonna do it. And there's several challenges every day that make clear that it's near impossible to do. But if I just set my intention and commit to figuring it out, what I find a lot of times is you just get on with the day-to-day tasks, yeah, what you got to do, and not worry too much about the goal. So say in my case this year, I want to build the company bigger, get more clout, more recognition, yeah. So I know where I want to be at the end of the year, but thinking about all day is not going to get me there. It might intimidate me. I might end up doing nothing, yeah? So what I know I can do practically day to day is I can wake up, I can get dressed, I can advertise, and I can get on the phone, I can talk to people. So if I just set that as my target, like, well, when we're advertising, I'm like, if I get to speak to one person a day who's signed up, that's good enough for me. So some days I might not, or if I'm working on a website project, if I've hired someone to do something for me, like even right now, this morning, when I finished doing what I was doing with the car, there was so much traffic. I was thinking, okay, I gave this job to Sandy to do yesterday, and Julie's doing this for me, and it's due tomorrow. So even though I'm stuck right now, I know that things are still moving along, and that's all I can do. I'm stuck in traffic. There's nothing, you know what I mean? It is what it is. So I just look like, what can I do practically day to day? And I try and just focus on that. How I'm running that situation here is that Facebook is like our main advertising partner, if I could say that. Yeah, like I spend most of the funds on advertising on Facebook. I want to invest in some other things. But how it works is people see our ad online, they sign up. What they're signing up for is free, yeah. So it's like a free web class or a free consultation, or just something. The only thing is, it's a light sell because they have to put in some details in order to get the freebie, yeah. So they sign up with their name, number, and email address. They get invited onto that free web class. They can watch it once they've signed up, and what happens a lot of times is they'll receive a phone call from someone who works with me. A lot of times I call myself. Yeah, so it's kind of like nice because I guess you get mixed reactions, but some people are like, oh my gosh, are you the guy in the video? Like, I didn't expect to hear from you at all. That's nice. Well, that's different. Most of these guys are American and, like, you know, they don't care or whatever else. So we call them up, I find out what they're going through. Right now it's still early days, so me calling or someone calling and finding out, like, oh, what made you want to sign up? You sign up for the web class. Like, it's good because I get to interact with them find out what they need, see how I can help them, and then take it from there. But they sign up to our membership platform, they become a personal client, and then we run events for them. And so we have a little network where everyone in our membership platform gets invited to the live events we put on, so that the tickets are already pre-sold by, if that makes sense, by the time that we have. So our next one's in April, but it's already booked. So.
And are these webinars or are they actual events?
No, they're real events. Because what they sign up for is they'll be signing up for a website, or they'll be signing up for mentorship, or they'll be signing up to receive like training. Yeah.
Training
in? How to launch an idea, because everyone who gets a website is trying to launch something, or how to sell it. Yeah, because obviously, you need to be able to sell your stuff. Yeah, so these are two things I've been able to do. Yeah, I'm not saying I'm a millionaire yet. yeah, but like I launched, I've launched what I'm doing now. I've launched ideas for other people. I've launched 1 or 2 other businesses I run quietly, and selling it. Even if you're not on social, you need to be able to sell it to the people you work with directly. When you walk into a meeting, there's some people that will walk into a plush environment and they start fidgeting because they feel out of place. Yeah, so obviously that makes it difficult for you to introduce yourself to the right people or carry yourself well. Like we go through that in one of my training programs that kind of deals with here's how to present yourself, here's how to sell yourself, here's how to talk. I've been able to talk my way into situations and talk my way out of bad situations as well. So I can actually, that's something I can share with people. It's a little bit outside of just building a website, but it helps. When you're building a website, yeah, so there's some things that's important to have there just so it ranks well or shows up well, yeah? And it's not just doing SEO. Like SEO starts when you're building a website. It's like how well is it constructed and built and put together, yeah? So say if I have a bakery, yeah, and I bake cakes, yeah, I'd want a well put together website that loads fast, looks good, is easy to click and navigate. Maybe the different types of cakes, like wedding cakes, whatever types of cakes you do, baby christenings, birthday cakes, whatever else. I would silo that website, and what I mean by that is I would just like categorize everything, so there'll be a separate page for birthday cakes, another one for wedding cakes, another one for whatever else they do, and then you just make sure the site loads fast, easy to click around, maybe give it an SSL certificate so it has that little green padlock when people come on the site. And then the site's pretty much done. And then after that, things you can do to help with the SEO will probably be like blog posts or like your reach on social media, or if you have any PR features, like if anyone else features you on their blog or anything else. So once the site's well put together, then you can start looking to do the AdWords, because if you're SEO, and obviously if I'm like a bakery in Kilburn, yeah, and I want to be known for that, I might search like bakeries in West London or bakeries in Northwest London. I'll try and rank for some of the search terms on the first page of Google. So I might have a page on the website dedicated to Northwest London cake bakers or whatever else, yeah. And then I would put that in some of the directories. And then I would, I might run ads to that page specifically as well with a phone number, and that could work. So yeah, we showed them how to do it, but at the end of the day, it depends on their budget and how much they're willing to spend, really. Because for my own self, I'm willing to spend to get, I know how much a customer's worth to me. I don't mind paying, even initially, it'll be like an investment up front. I know I'll get something back. So it depends on the business owner, how much they're willing to spend. A sense of clarity around what I wanted to sell and present. And to be honest, yeah, I have to, that being clear on what it is I want to do, I have to do that like every month, pretty much. It's not like I wrote a business plan once and everything just worked out, because it's just not the case. Like every month, I take stock of how much I made that month, what I want to do next. But you know what, the one thing, yeah, okay, I'll say this instead, because we could be going on for a while, yeah. Here's what I'll say. The one thing that most people who start a business, yeah, do not think about, yeah, when they're starting a business, yeah, is how they're going to advertise that business, Yeah, they're more concerned with getting out of their 9 to 5 than they are serving their customer. But the thing is, you need to be thinking about practically, what can I do to advertise? Because getting a website is not the most expensive part. Yeah, it's getting a customer and getting a real customer. I don't mean getting like your auntie's sister's best friend who's known you since you were young. I mean like people who don't know you, finding out about you and frequenting your business. So that's one thing. That's the one thing, and you could do that if you're having a funnel or some type of process where people can come in to the business through, you know. So say if I'm advertising a specific page on the site, people sign up through that page or buy through that page or inquire through that page. I track what's going on that page, and you know, I take stock from there. Like, these are the people I'm calling, these are the people who I'm reaching out to. I have one thing I'm doing specifically, and most business owners don't do that when they're starting. They're trying to do everything. You know, I don't know how everyone funds it, because obviously if you've got like a nice car and whatnot, you'll never really know what someone's going through if they look the part. But that's the one thing that has made sense for me, is having a product. I can say, like, you know, you give it some shape, like this is what you get for that product, this is what it comes with. It gives you at least a base to say this is what I offer, especially when you're in a service-based business. Yeah, it's not a phone, it's not an item, it doesn't have a, do you know what I mean? And when it's service-based, yeah, you make it, you're giving it its parameters or what's involved. So that's for you to say, with that service, you get X, Y, and Z thing, and it costs this much. And then we have this service, and it costs da and you get that much. You have to set them parameters and then advertise it. But the one thing I'd say is the marketing process is more important to think about. So don't just think about your equipment or whatever else. Is important, yes, but how are you going to get your customers? And if your only way of getting, I mean, networking's good, but if you can have something where you can advertise and reach out to people, and people inquire, like they're attracted to want to sign up, and there's something you're offering that entices them, it helps. Instead of, I still do networking and everything else, but it's tiring, you know. So is everything else. Anything worth doing takes some effort. So for me, like growing up properly, like started like when I was 11 years old, because that's when I started going to school on my own. Yeah. So year 7's 2003. And 2003 is the year that Dizzy Rascal's Boy in the Corner album comes out. Yeah. And I remember when that album came out, yeah, like, it was like so big. Like everyone in my year everyone bought the CD. I had the CD. I got it twice. My sister bought it for me for my birthday, and then my cousin bought it for me. And you know, I knew the whole track list. It was like in 2003, and that was like that anthem. I was like, that's when everyone was like, kind of like grime was just starting. So rapping in the school playground, and then like Wiley and all those different things, and fighting in the school playground. I think my secondary school year was like when I started waking up, because the primary school I went to was like a good school, and I was like the baddest kid in a good school, so I wasn't bad at all. Yeah, you know what I mean? It was just, my badness was nothing compared to when I came to my secondary school, yeah, and I was like, whoa, like I'm not on it at all. Mum, get me out of it. But after like the first year, like you had 1 or 2 fights, like you had to fight, yeah, to like make friends, or you just keep on getting bullied, yeah. So I fought once or twice, build up your clout, and then eventually like the girls start liking you. Yeah, I think growing up black here is good. The only problem is at some point, yeah, you realize that it's cool because everyone loves like your culture and jokes and like the music and sports and everything else. It's fine until I think probably when Trident became like a thing when I was 14 years old, and the stop and search stuff. Then, you know, I mean, I got stopped and searched once or twice, but I don't think it's like, I don't think it's deep. I think it's quite good growing up, and that is because there was so much like culturally available, especially growing up in London, because London is like that whole melting pot. There's so many different cultures around here, and so many different things you can get into. Like growing up black here in London, I feel like was an advantage for me, and also because where I lived was pretty much the hood, but my dad when I was young, I never lived with my dad, but my dad, my mum and dad had broke up, and my dad's business was doing very well at the time, so he would come pick me up sometimes and take me out of the hood and show me a different environment or like different restaurants or different places to go and stuff like that. Yeah, so it's like I saw both sides of things. Like I'd see like, you know, like Mayfair, like what's Mayfair? What's that all about? What are these restaurants? And then I'll come back home and I'll be back at school. So I had like an understanding of both sides. I didn't think it was bad growing up, but I just wish, there's some things I wish was different, but that wasn't to do with growing up in London. That's just like my own personal experience. I think it was quite good. I've been spending like a little bit of time like in the clubs and stuff, yeah, but mainly like the black clubs, like all these African clubs, yeah, because there's some people that love, like they love being African. They don't want to be nothing else, and that's what it is right now in London. And they're running the show. Being black, yeah, or being yourself, being what it is you are, is in. Like it's in. Obviously, I'm not saying it like a vulture, like following trends, yeah, but it's in. And what's even more in than being black, yeah, is being confident in what you are and what you have to offer, yeah. And that's all it is. It's not even about the black culture, yeah, because black culture is not new, yeah. Like it's always been a thing. Like even growing up, yeah, like my dad used to hang around all the Rastafarians, yeah. So Bob Marley and that was a thing from. The black culture's always been like to those guys. Yeah, black culture's not a new thing. It's just to us growing up in this environment where there was a stage where maybe for a girl like being blonde and having straight hair was more in than being black was. But that's because we're from a different environment and we came to be in a European place. So our parents couldn't necessarily even relate because they're from where they're from. They're like, all these issues we're dealing with are new. But I feel like for the new generation, everyone's kind of found their footing in being confident in who they are to a certain extent. It's just a lot of people don't know who they are or don't know like the value of their background or where they come from. So I feel like you're just being confident in what it is you're doing, and then that confidence allows you to move into other environments with that vim that you need to be able to do what you got to do. So right now, I've built a foundation, but for me, even building my own business confidence or whatever else, the only thing I see working is really embracing the culture as to you know what it is I want to do and how I want to do it. Because if I'm being honest here, obviously you hear my accent or whatever else, it sounds how it sounds, but there was a stage where I started off getting bullied in secondary school, yeah, because I didn't understand it. By the time I left secondary school, I was running my school. Like by the time I got to year 11, I was just like, right, this is who I am now, just embrace it, and this is what I'm good at. Same way as entering the business environment, like you start out new. Let's say every time you make a mistake, yeah, that's like you getting bullied by life or whatever else, yeah? And then you just gotta learn that this is how it is, and if I wanna win, I'm gonna have to learn to adjust myself, not who I am, but get comfortable. So if you keep on trying to change who you are, people take advantage of that insecurity. Yeah, but once you embrace it, it's no longer something that people can poke fun at because you have acknowledged that this is who I am. This is, you know, where I stand. Like even when I was in, I'll deviate for a second here. So I'm in year 2, yeah. I'm like 6 or 7 years old, and I'm 6. I think I'm 6 years old, yeah. I remember, and I'm getting beaten up like by this. Like you remember yo-yos? You remember the yo-yo, yeah? So my yo-yo gets robbed, yeah, and it gets robbed by like someone who's stronger than me, yeah. So it's like, how much can I do? I'm like, give me my toy back. He said no. So I go home to my mum, yeah. I'm like, Mum, she's like, my dad had just bought me this yo-yo, yeah. I think maybe it cost £30 or something. £30 in 1996 or 7, yeah. It's like, or 98, it's like, you know what I mean? It's money, yeah. I was like, I'm like, Mum, my yo-yo got robbed, yeah. Who took it? Oh, this guy, he's making things difficult for me in school. Okay, so my mum changing who I am would have been, okay, we're moving school, yeah? But my mum looked at me and goes, oh, that's it, we're getting you karate lessons, yeah? Or you're taking judo or whatever else. So she gets me all these Rob Van Dam videos, gets me like training tutorials, yeah? And then I start taking kickboxing lessons after school. Here's the thing, here's what happened after that, yeah? I got my yo-yo back, yeah? It was a bit damaged, yeah, but I got it back. But I didn't have to fight the guy who was bullying me. He kind of just, like, when I stood up to him, he kind of just, oh, Gyles, man, why are you being so serious, man? Here you go. That's all you have to do is ask. But obviously, I was too scared. I was too scared. I did try asking, it didn't work. Yeah, I think the thing is, there's not all the time, yeah, but you become more confident in in what you are, and then you find like you don't even need to fight as much as you thought you'd need to. But when you're weak, yeah, everyone's trying to try you. Everyone's on your case. It's just, and the same thing, like, it's not that, if I moved school, maybe I'd have recreated the same situation, because internally I'm still the same. I don't think I'm good enough. I don't think so. I'm gonna, no matter what environment I go into, I'm gonna be the guy who's not good enough. Yeah. And when people say like, I think it's hard to do business in the UK or in London, it's so difficult, or I heard it's easier in New York. It might be easier in New York, but as long as you're going there and you think the way you think, you're gonna have the same situation you're having here. Because if someone wants to help you and you think they're gonna try and rob you or finesse you because of the way you think, yeah, you're gonna think that in Africa, you'll think that in Portugal, wherever you go, you recreate the same thing. So I just look at it like, even maybe right now I'm even talking to myself, like, where I'm like, okay, this is where I am. If, yeah, I needed to make more money, yeah, and that's why I'm listening to your issue about you saying I'm successful. Okay, cool. So by the society standards, yeah, success is making more money, yeah, just, or having more stuff. Kind of. Obviously, I know you're a bit more enlightened than that, so you probably say some other things as well. But let's just say it's making more money, yeah? Okay, so I'm having the issues I'm having, and I'm paying everyone's bills or whatever else, yeah, which is a fact right now. I made more money in February than I made in January, yeah? I made more money in January this year, with my grandma being gone and all the issues I've got. This February just gone, I made more money this year than I had this same February a year ago, yeah? And I wasn't doing badly a year ago, February. So if I've made even more now, and I'm even still stressed having the issues, yeah, it's not the money that needs to change. It's, it's just, it's something going on up here, yeah? And that's why I'm even talking about, like, what you're saying about embracing the culture and whatnot. Because some people I talk to want to make more money or want to try to figure out ways to go about, but we're in London, there's money in London. There is money in London. So if it's here and it's not in your pocket, yeah, it's not London, it needs to change as your approach. And you got to embrace who you are. Because if you don't, like, what else have you got if you don't? If you don't, you're all you've got. You know? This is Bob in Success Talks. I'm Gyles Buckle. I run a digital marketing agency called Brussel Pond. We do a lot of different things, but mainly what I specialize in, along with the agency, is getting customers for our clients. So if you want a presence online, or you want a presence on social media that will help you in getting your next customer, which is what I'm about, design in order to get a next customer, I can help you do that.